After The Good Feeling, I played in a group called Cyro Flash Cat with Connie Fairchild. It was Steve Fairchild played bass. What had basically happened with The Good Feeling was I had spent a lot of time listening to blues. There was a disc jockey here in St. Louis named Gabriel.
Yeah, I remember Gabriel.
And on KTZ from midnight till 6 in the morning, he would play blues. I would sit up every night and get my education. So I came to a point where I said to the guys in The Good Feeling, man, I'm not going to play all this English pop stuff anymore. I'm going to be a blues guy. And consequently, the keyboard player cold-cocked me and the band broke up. And,
as a lot of bands do.
And so I put together Cyro Flash Cat. And in the meantime, I got a call from Irv Azoff. And he wanted me to come up to Champaign. And back then we had, we didn't have cell phones. We had bad connections and stuff. And I thought that he said he wanted me to come up and audition with the Illinois Speed Press. But what he was saying, he wanted me to come up and audition with REO Speedwagon. So I drove up to Champaign and I get to the rehearsal hall and I realized it wasn't Illinois Speed Press. I went, what's the deal here anyway? But I went ahead and auditioned and got the gig and stuff. And my band Cyro Flash Cat, I told them I was leaving the band, and on our last gig, the last song, they said, we want to do something for you. They played Happy Trails for me, which most of the time with bands and stuff, when you break up, things don't go so good and stuff.
Once you landed the REO Speedwagon gig, you had to move up there.
I moved up there. It was the first time I had left home, and an interesting fact was Irving got me an apartment on Green Street, and it just happened that Dan Fogelberg lived upstairs and I lived downstairs. And we called it the Dago Penthouse. I brought a guy with me, Jimmy Trevorrow, and he was our road manager. And so I got to know Dan Fogelberg real well then, and God, what a great guy he was. And just recently I've been listening to his music and just being really inspired by it. And so I lived in a house with Dan for probably about 6 months or so.
So how long were you playing with REO?
For 2 years, 1969 to late 71. And that's when I joined the band. They were a local cover band, and they heard that I wrote songs and they wanted my influence to start. And so I did all the original demos. And there's some personality problems in the band, and I won't go into them or anything, but I told Irv, I said, man, I gotta leave the band. It's not working out. And he's like, no, I got a big record deal. You can't leave now. I said, nope, I'm quitting the band. So anyway, I quit the band, and they went on to fortune and fame. They're still together, and they're better than ever. I played a gig with them about 6 months ago, and I looked at them and I went, oh my God.
So that wasn't one of your best moves?
No, I've made a lot of really stupid moves in my life. But when
Haven't we all?
Seriously. But you know what? It was a really good move for me, because at the time that was at the height of the hippie era, and there was so much drugs and rock and roll and the lifestyle. I don't think if I would have stayed in that band, I would have survived. And because I left that group, I have 2 beautiful kids that I've raised that are doing great. And so I have no regrets. Before I came back to St. Louis, I went out to LA and did some session work with Mr. McDonald. And I recorded one record with a guy named John Hurley, who wrote the song Son of a Preacher Man. And it was Elvis's backup band. and Mike McDonald and me. And it was James Burton, Ronnie Tutt, and Jerry Sheff, his rhythm section. And the one thing I remember most about that was James Burton really loved my guitar playing, and he goes, "Man, I love your guitar playing." And Elvis has this army buddy that he gets up on stage every night and he's high and he's drunk and he knocks his amp over, and I'm gonna fire him. Would you like to be and take his place? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take his place. I'll play in Elvis's band. But then he went back to Las Vegas and presented the idea, and Elvis wouldn't fire his army buddy. And so I came close. I'm like the guy that came close to really making it a whole bunch of times.